What's going on, guys? It's Bilo back again, and I've had for a couple of weeks now the HX Stomp, and I purchased this myself. I was not given this, unlike everybody else on YouTube who seems to have gotten a free HX Stomp. I just want to come up here and show you how I'm using it. I'm actually using it within the context of supporting my Kemper, right? So the way I actually have the path set up is, if you take a look on the screen here, I have the distortion pedal, and then the effects loop is actually the Kemper itself, and inside of the Kemper is my torpedo cab and its effects loop. So the Kemper effects loop has the torpedo cab, and it's running my cab simulation. From the Kemper, we're coming back to the HX Stomp, and then I have some delay, reverb, my opti trim, and then the compressor, all going out, right? And so with the limited 6-slot DSP chain that you get with the HX Stomp, it's not a big deal because the Kemper has great effects already on board on tap. So I'm able to get a really nice tone using a hybrid method of some Kemper effects and some HX Stomp effects, and kind of get a really nice expansive reverby soundy situation. And so on screen here you can see I have the HX Stomp HX Edit, as well as the Toast Me 1.39 toaster Kemper KPA Midi editor situation going on here. So I have also the Kemper cam, I have the HX Stomp cam, just so you can see everything's for real, right? Like, this is the real deal. And as I said before, the HX Stomp is the beginning of my signal chain with the guitar lead going into that, going out from the effects loop, goes into the Kemper, from its effects loop, the torpedo cab, coming back to the Kemper, their effects return, and then from the output of the Kemper back into the effects return on the HX Stomp. So that's kind of like a loop within a loop back, and it gives a really nice tone. So let's have a listen to it. Right now in the Kemper we have a Super AC5, which is a really nice blended profile from the Tone Junkie guys. Let's have a listen to what that sounds like. So like I said, my primary amp simulation modeling profiling thing is the Kemper, and I've had a Helix LT before. I loved it. It was just so big, and it was just really hard to kind of sit on the couch and play with. Well, it was just a really big thing. And so the HX Stomp is like the perfect size, right? And the fact that I can integrate and remotely control my Kemper and use the editor and all that stuff really makes this a really nice piece of kit. So, I actually went on a trip this last weekend. I went to go visit my folks back home, and I literally took this Strandberg and the HX Stomp, a pair of headphones, a cable, and that was it. And using the onboard amp modeling amp sims was great. And of course I have my own IRs already on there from my previous Helix experience. I had loaded up a bunch of different capabilities into it. So it was really nice to be able to, because I'm a former Kemper user, a HX Helix user, I already knew my learning curve wasn't so great. I already knew what to do with it, right? So, what I'm getting at with this statement is that the HX Stomp is a great piece of equipment, right? For $600, whatever it is you're going to pay for that thing, it's really nice. And putting it in a Kemper is nicer, right? Having a Kemper and an HX Stomp really make a very nice tonal comparison. So what I want to do, let's just switch to a different patch. So that was the Super AC. Let's jump onto something a little bit more jangly. So we'll jump on this AC Silver Bell. Let's see if I can find a better one. I thought I had a newer one. All right, so another Tone Junkie patch. This is the AC Silver Bell Bolt. And we're using the reverb and a delay from the HX Stomp here, and we'll kind of kick in some drive here in a sec. For the gain or dirt that we got here from the HX Stomp, I'm rocking the Cool Drive, which is not so overpoweringly I don't know how to say it, like it's kind of mellow. Cool Drive, you know the name, right? So let's turn it down a little bit. So that's a couple of just, mellow, normal, straight up patches that are very clean and just very fun to play with. Here's a super reverb sparkle, another Tone Junkie patch. Okay, so in this instance, we actually have a problem because well, actually, it's not really a problem, but this is what the Tone Junkie sounds cold turkey, right? The Tone Junkie version of the patch sounds cold turkey. I really don't like how it's so muffled. And that's the amp that they modeled, right? They profiled. It's like a stock patch. But so one of the cool things about the Toast Me KPA editor is I want to do a bunch of changes all at once right now, but I really can't do that unless I start tweaking a bunch of knobs and doing a lot of rotating of the knobs. So what I'll do here is I'll just save. We'll switch patches. We'll go to a patch that already has a configuration that I'm happy with. This Victory Sheriff, right? And as you can see in the Victory Sheriff, I have the cab turned off, and then in the effects loop of my Kemper in the X block is the actual torpedo cab. So what I'll do is I'll just click lock everything except the amp, right? Lock everything except the amp. Now, from the Victory Sheriff preset, that has my torpedo cab in there. Let's go back to the rig manager. And in the rig manager, let's go down to the amp I was trying to hang out with, which is a Sparkly Verb Sparkle Drive, right? Here we go. So we get the Super Reverb Sparkle Drive. It saved all of my presets all at once, and all I have to do now is... This is me auditioning a different amp profile, and like in one click, nullifying all of the presets that came with that profile and saying, nope, just change the amp, everything else keep the same. Using the Toast Me KPA editor with the ampersand lock of the amp thing right there is really nice, because I can audition a ton of amps all at the same time and not have to worry about changing all my presets to get it to where I want, because it just only swaps out the amp. So here's a different one. Here's a rev. And the thing about it is you got to remember that the cab and the speakers are like about 70 to 80% of your tone. So if you have the same cab and speakers for every amp that you audition, most likely it's going to sound like that same cab and speakers. So nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just something that we live us. Here's Super Magic, Tone Junkie. Yeah, so that's kind of just, like I said, the HX Stomp here is supporting my Kemper, right? So although the Kemper is inside of the HX Stomp with the effects loop, send and return, it's everything, it's the Kemper and more, right? So that's why you kind of see me spending a lot of time with the Kemper, because you already know what the HX Stomp can do. You've already got these guys who are paid and given free HX Stomps to review and, you know, package and tell you, but you know, I've listened to a lot of those guys' tones and they suck. So, you know, screw those guys. This is, you know, if you have a Kemper and you're like, okay, I want to use an HX Stomp with it, what does it sound like? This is what it sounds like, right? So, you know, to that end, let's try something out that's fun. So I have a Tone Junkie version of a BE, right? The Friedman BE 100. So check out this tone and tell me what you think, and then we'll try the actual HX Stomp version of that. So turn off the damn chorus. Let's turn off those effects. And that's the cool thing about having the editor for the Kemper and the HX Stomp here all up, and, you know, just easily clicking things and turning things off. That reverb that you're hearing there is actually part of my Torpedo Cab, you know, like room simulation. I have it set to Cathedral, I believe. Let's take a look at it. Actually, we'll pull that up as well. 2 Notes Audio Engineering. It's awesome. I love this thing. You know, in a perfect world, what I would like to have, you know, made is a, you know what, I don't think I have it connected. Damn it. Well, I can't show you that. Sorry about that. It's not connected via USB. But we're using a Cathedral room for the 2 Nuts simulation stuff. So anyways, so here is what the Friedman profiled with my cab amp sim from Tone Junkie sounds like. Through a Gibson. And then now let's go take a look at one of my saved presets here, which is actually like I've gone through it and I've koshered up the way I think the Friedman BE should sound. So we'll go back and forth. I think this one might be a little louder, so hold on. It's a little softer actually. Wow, I need to kind of turn that up so we have a good comparison. So I need to save it in the preset so it doesn't have the reverb, so we can go back and forth. So we'll save it like that. Let's turn it on right here in the preset mode. We'll save this turned off as well. All right, so okay, now we should be able to go back and forth, but I need to change the IR to make it a little louder. Something like this. All right, so let's go back and forth between, like I said, the Friedman of the Kemper and the Friedman of the Stomp. So here's the Stomp Friedman. not bad. Like I said, when I went to go visit my parents, it was nice to have that. Here's Kemper. A little bit more present for the Friedman. So in this case, I think the Friedman sounds a slight bit better on the Stomp than it does on the Profiler, but let's take a look. Sounds pretty good. I like them both, to be perfectly honest. Like I said, when I went on a trip to go visit my folks this last weekend, I enjoyed having just the HX Stomp. In fact, I was really happy to have that headphones in my Strandberg. The HX Stomp fit inside the gig bag of the Strandberg, and I didn't have to... I literally carried my suitcase of luggage and then my Strandberg guitar with everything I needed in it to jam, like ready to roll. And so if you were to do like a fly gig, you just put the HX Stomp in your gig bag or your guitar bag, your guitar gig bag, your guitar case, and you're set, man. You don't have to do anything with it. But like for me, you know, having the Kemper at home, I never want to take that anywhere. I want to leave that here. I don't want that to get damaged. I don't want it to get stolen. None of that. I just want my Kemper to always be in 100% condition. And, you know, the idea of going to jam with someone or go do guitar lessons remotely, having the HX Stomp is really nice for that. So let's do one more comparison. I want to try out a PV. Actually, let's do the Golden Plex. So this is a version of a Plexi that's the amp sim of the HX Stomp. Let's have a listen to that. It's got its own little gain thing going there. Sounds pretty soft, right? Anyways, with that being said, let's give a shot to one of my like Origin profiles here on the Kemper here. I have a couple of those actually. I really enjoy the Origin profiles. They sound super good. So I don't think a Plexi would be a Silver Jubilee would be a fair comparison considering the architecture is radically different. But I'm not finding my Origin. Here's a JMP. Here we go. Or Plexi 59. Yeah, Ricky Storty has great profiles, man. This one's really good. So here's the HX Stomp version. Here's the Kemper. Hold on. Screwed it up. There you go. A lot hotter. I mean, it's dimed up to be hotter in the Kemper profile. But not bad. I think it's a good comparison. Let's go back. Yeah, not bad at all. It's just, you know, I think the Kemper version sounds a lot better of the Plexi here, whereas last time I thought the Friedman sounded better on the Stomp. Let's do another one. Let's do an AC30 style patch. So here is my Stomp version of an AC30. Let's give that a listen, using an IR, of course. Of course, I had chorus, right? Sounds pretty AC-ish. And then AC is one of my favorite amps, and I still have my AC30. In real life, I will never get rid of my AC30. So I have a ton of ACs, you know what I mean? Like, here's the newest run from Tone Junkie, right? Let's have a listen to this. We'll go back and forth between the AC on my Stomp. That's just a naked sound. Here's the Kemper version. That damn gain pedal is always there. Ooh, that's what happens when you turn off the IR. Don't do that. Probably need to turn it up a little bit. Yeah, I'm finding that my Kemper profiles are, for whatever reason, louder than my IR. That's not a bad sound right there. I mean, that's really nice. You throw some reverb and some delay on that bad boy, and you got a really nice sounding AC, honestly. Yeah, I am not mad about that tone at all. That is a great AC tone for not having to lug around my Kemper anywhere. So here's the equivalent of on the Kemper status, right? We'll save with the reverb and delay. So here's the stomp. Kemper. Yeah, I think that's very convincing in both instances. And I'm a very snobby AC kind of person. I really love my AC30. I have a real AC30, and I do my best to dial up my AC patches and profiles and mods and all that shit to sound exactly like my real AC30. If it doesn't, I'm pissed. So yeah, that's like a Plexi, a AC, and then the Friedman. Let's do one last one, and this is going to be kind of like going for broke. This is a JCM style patch. Let's see what we get. So this is the Stomp version of a JC. Of course, I got to turn that up quite a bit, and that delay sounds like it's going to be a problem. So let's turn this up and let's see what we get. Pretty fun stuff. Let's go. For AC, let's actually just use. I'm sorry, not AC. For JCM, let's use. I have one in here somewhere. I'm just gonna find it. I've kind of moved away from using them. Here we go. Here's Ricky Story's JCM. So. Yeah, here's the Stomp. Sounds kind of muffled. Here's the Kemper. Of course, I got very exaggerated effects going on here. Yeah, I'm not happy with either one of those. And then, you know, just going for bonus, this is literally where I've been. I picked up the Victory all profile set, so it's like 19, you know, British pounds, like 23 US dollars at the time when I bought it. And it has so many great Victory profiles on here. Here's the whole library of them. Yeah, so let me get down to, yeah, here's the Victory Sheriff, the V30, V1, you know, V40, all this stuff, man. And then the Kraken. And the Kraken's a fabulous amp. Oh my God, it's a fabulous amp. I'm hanging out right here at Kraken Gain 2.14. This is really nice. I mean, you tell me. It's kind of quacky though. And so I need to do a little bit more sculpting on the EQ front here to kind of get the EQ where I want it to be. Probably because the pedal I have up front. Let's ditch that pedal. I've never heard a real Victory amp in person with my own ears, let alone play one. So I have no idea, like, as for a frame of reference, how that compares to the real thing, but it sounds great. Here's a Sheriff. Yeah, it's a different tone, right? Here's a V30. They kind of have like a MIDI sound to them, like really mid-ish. Kind of quacky, so maybe I gotta do some mid sculpting. Sounds really, I'm really just, that whole Victory amp kit pack that they have on the Victory website for their amps is really nice. Rabia did a fabulous job profiling them. Yeah, I'm really just, and so this is the real deal, right? So this is using the HX Stomp, supporting and through and with my Kemper, and that's what you're going to do as a Kemper player, someone who has something a little bit better like an amp. I'm considering my Kemper an amp here, right? And so I'm doing 4-cable method with the Kemper itself as an effects block. And as you can see in my Kemper preset, which is the 01A, it has the effect send and return, right? So it's like distortion pedal, effect send and return, gate on the inbound, delay reverb. Of course, my opti trim trick. You should really do that for every single one of your presets. You should make at the very tail of the Helix and all that stuff, a compressor, the LA comp, studio comp, the Cali comp, and then the opti trim right before that. Just trust me on this, or put the opti trim after it. Just trust me on this, because the opti trim does something to the signal, and it's there. If your tone sucks and you don't like the way your tone sucks using a Helix product, put the opti trim at the very end. Set your opti trim to 1 and 1 with no dB gain, just unison, 1 and 1, boom, and that'll bring your tone to life. Let's give it a shot. Without it. With it. Without it. With it. When you go for vibrato and you let the strings sing, the opti trim right there gives it a modulation that really just pushes it to the front. Off. Off, right? Listen to that off. On. Oh, let me click it on. And as you can see on screen, I have no dB increase. It's just the nature of an optical trim. And the people who have tremolo amps like Fenders and ACs, etc., amps that have tremolo circuits in them, when you have them activated at a very low or moderate modulation cycle, it does something to the tone, especially the 2-speaker ones, right? So the Vox AC30C2 with the tremolo circuit on there, it just like modulates the speakers and it just projects the sound even wider. It's just amazing. So that's kind of basically what I wanted to show you guys here is, all this talk about the HX Stomp, all this talk about Helix and Kemper versus Helix, and the Kemper people getting mad at Helix people and the Helix people blocking Kemper people. And if you go to the Helix forums, you say Kemper, they're going to ban you. If you go to the Kemper forums and you say Helix, they're going to stop it. Don't be stupid. Get a Kemper and get an HX Stomp. Put them into each other and have a nice day. And it's really a nice set of tones. I really enjoy it. And even then, I'm still using a torpedo cab in the effects loop of my Kemper to give it even better amp sim. In my personal opinion, I believe that the HX Stomp really shines on its own and inside or with pushing the Kemper. I really believe that. And if you got to go somewhere this weekend, but you ain't got time to pack all that Kemper and all these speakers and all this MIDI cables and all this fun stuff, just take your HX Stomp, man. That's what I'm doing. That's what I did last weekend. I literally took my Strandberg, and its gig bag is very small. Very small gig bag for this. I mean, it's considerably smaller than the Gibson. See this? Considerably smaller. Very small gig bag. And in the pocket of the gig bag, I put my HX Stomp. It's headphones, a couple of cables, power source, all that. And I was able to have great tone on the road using the HX Stomp. So, like I said, I'm someone who's had a Helix LT. I still have a Helix Native. I sold my LT because it was just too big. And then, recently, as soon as the HX Stomp was announced, I bought mine, my own money, using, my Sweetwater card, right? It showed up that Monday or whatever, or that Saturday. And I wanted to put my hands on it for a couple of weeks, right? I wanted to spend a little bit of time with it and be like, what does it sound like on its own? And what does it sound like inside of my studio environment? Because my studio environment includes the Kemper. That's the critical part of the studio environment, is the Kemper tone, because it's like my amp, right? But I need something outside of it, but it needs to have the editor situation, right? That's a really big part of, you know, what I'm doing here in my studio is using the Kemper KPA Midi editor, right? Which is by Damon Gredia. It's the Toast Me app. You can find the Toast Me editor on the Facebook group. Just type in Kemper Toast Me, right? Go join that group, download it, have a nice day. You're gonna love it. Give me a call, tell me what you think. And then the HX Stomp, right? Like it has its own HX effects editor. And so bouncing between the two editors, you know, everything is together right there on my table. And all I gotta do is use my mouse and play my guitar. That's it. And have a good time, right? And it's really cool, really nice for that. I mean, I can't think of it getting any better than this. You know, HX Stomp for the effects and all that fun stuff, and the in and outs, and user interface ability inside the studio and on the road just as a standalone unit. The Kemper having the best profiles on the planet, the best amp tone, and then the 2 Notes Torpedo cab, giving me the best cabinet speaker room modeling environment possible for my overall tone enjoyment. So that's been this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a shout, dude. Tell me what you think. Are you doing this? Are you rocking your HX Stomp inside your Kemper? And what are you using? Because the way I have my string set up, I literally just have a Kemper patch and then another one which has a looper, right? And then a bunch of just little standalone amp patches that I'm using on the road whenever I don't have my Kemper with me. So that's like kind of where I'm hanging out. So tell me what you think, guys. Have a good one. That's been this video. Rock on, and I'll catch you later.